Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, B'Kakadosh. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the elect. Today we're going to get into 1 Samuel, the 29th chapter, with a quick recap of the 28th chapter. We had David join the Philistines when they are at war with Israel. And then Saul had banished all the people with familiar spirits, the mediums. You know, he had banished them from the land. And then once Saul has seen that the Philistines were getting ready to go to war, Saul was so afraid, so he went to go call upon the Lord for guidance, but the Lord never answered him. So even though he banished all the people with familiar spirits, he himself went to look for a woman who had a familiar spirit. And, he went to her. He conjured Samuel, because he had died in the previous chapter, and he had been buried. And then he basically asked Samuel what to do. And Samuel like, why the fuck you calling me, bro? And he basically said that the Lord is just doing what he said he was going to do. And Israel will lose the battle with the Philistines. And Saul and his sons is going to die in the same day. And Saul was so shook, he even stopped eating. That's about what happened in the previous chapter. So this is the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 29 and 1, and it reads, Now the Philistines gathered together all their armies to Aphek, and the Israelites pitched by a fountain which is in Jezreel. And the lords of the Philistines passed on by hundreds and by thousands, but David and his men passed on in the reward with Achish. So you had the Philistine army at Aphek, and the Israelites were at Jezreel. And you had, for the Philistine army, David and his men had joined. So you had the Philistine army in the front, and David and his men were in the back. Then said the princes of the Philistines, What do these Hebrews here? And he asked, What are they doing here? And Achish said unto the princes of the Philistines, Is not this David, the servant of Saul, the king of Israel, which have been with me these days, or these years, and I have found no fault in him, since he fell unto me unto this day? So he's been with me all this time, and I've never seen him do me wrong. And the princes of the Philistines were at war with him. They were angry. And the princes of the Philistines said unto him, Make this fellow return, that he may go again to his place, which thou appointed him, and let him not go down with us to battle, lest in a battle he be an adversary to us. For wherewith should we reconcile himself unto his master? Should it not be the heads of these men? So the princes of the Philistines were actually afraid of David betraying them. Really. That's why they didn't want David and his men to join the battle. Is not this David, of whom they sang to another and danced, saying, Saul slew his thousands and David his 10,000s. Damn, they reached all the way to them? Wow. Damn. Then Achish called David and said unto him, Surely, as the Lord liveth, thou hast been upright, and thy going out and thy coming in with me in the host is good in my sight. For I have not found evil in thee since the day of thy coming unto me, unto this day. Nevertheless, the Lord's favor thee not. So even though I trust you, and I really think you should go to battle with me, these idiots, these princes, they're not down with that. Wherefore now return and go in peace, that thou displease not the lords of the Philistines. So basically go back to Ziklag. And David said unto Achish, but what have I done? And what hast thou found in thy servant, so long as I have been with thee unto this day, that I may not go fight against the enemies of my lord the king? So what David's asking what he's done. And Achish answered and said to David, I know that thou art good in my sight, as an angel of God, notwithstanding the princes of the Philistines have said, he shall not go up with us to battle. So they were adamant about him not going. Wherefore now rise up early in the morning with thy master's servants that are come with thee, and as soon as ye be up early in the morning, have light and depart. So as soon as sun rises, you gotta dip. So David and his men rose up early to depart in the morning, to return into the land of the Philistines, and the Philistines went to Jezreel. Yo, imagine David had gone to the battle and he saw Saul was about to die. He most definitely would have jumped in there. So maybe that's why the Lord had David not go. We don't know. The Lord has many reasons, So yeah, that's basically the end of 1 Samuel, the 29th chapter. It's just David going to war with the Philistines, but the princes of the Philistines didn't like David. Achish was in favor of David joining, but the princes were too afraid of David and his men betraying us, so they were like, nah, you gotta go back. So ultimately David and his men went back first thing in the morning. That's the end of 1 Samuel, the 29th chapter, pretty short chapter. Love and health edifying. Until next time, shalom.